minute ago. But
That's right.
I mean, it's amazing that the Republicans had 17 candidates.
17.
And they were all pretty pathetic. And I find that amazing. And by the way, I would say the same on the 4 or so on the Democratic side. And by the way, the 2 oddball candidates this year, Johnson and Stein, were amazingly also terrible.
Oh my God, they were terrible. They couldn't even name. One of them, Johnson or Stein, couldn't even know where Aleppo was, and I was like, awful. It's like, can you be serious? You got to be kidding me.
Yeah, I mean, so even the ones that weren't nominated, that just kind of appeared. Hopefully, I mean, Ralph Nader, as different as Ralph was a pretty sharp guy, and had some, I think, meaningful perspectives. I mean, this is just, we are just in a weird world right now.
Yeah, I think it's really weird too that out of those 17 people, I did like John Kasich. I would have been okay with John Kasich. He seemed sensible at least to me. But
I would give you that.
Yeah, but I mean, Jeb Bush is a decent guy, but I think people were just like, they're sick of Hillary Clinton, of the Clintons. They're sick of the Bushes, right? They're just sick of it. It's like, come on, man, we don't. By the way.
Yeah.
You talked about professional politicians. Yeah, professional friggin' political families.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the Bushes. It's like, my God. Yeah. I don't think anyone could take another Bush presidency. Even if Jeb Bush would have been better, perhaps, than his brother. I don't know if he would or wouldn't, but hypothetically,
I don't disagree.
So what else has been going on with you? What else has been happening in your life? Anything else exciting? You still playing a lot of golf?
Yeah, I'm actually playing some pretty good golf for as young as I am.
Yeah, I know. You're only like, what, 70 now? When didn't that happen?
But I have big hands.
Exactly. Well, that really helps, because we talked about your first sexual experience on a golf course last time, and I don't want to repeat that again. Thank you very much.
I've actually had a couple good experiences on the golf. In fact, I've had several great experiences on the golf course.
Have you really?
No lie.
Really?
No lie. Yep. Been very. I would rate my performance on the golf course as way above average.
You mean, so you think you were like if you had to handicap yourself, you were in the plus side, not the negative. But the question is, did she feel the same way? I guess that's what. I don't actually. Well, hold on. I guess I could be wrong. I don't know. Were you with anyone? I don't even know that.
I would say I've had a pretty good golf course count.
Really? So,
yeah.
What's your favorite hole? The 18th hole. What is your favorite? Where do you in the bunker? Where do you like to perform? I'm sorry. I'm getting in the dirt. I apologize, everybody. I didn't mean to get us into the sewer again. I apologize.
It's a place I'm comfortable.
Yes. Oh. So we see. So the bunker probably then.
Yeah, sand plays good.
That's right.
Getting out of hazards.
In the rough, you like it in the rough.
In the bushes.
That's right. Yeah.
There's a lot of golf analogies, but
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but of course this is when you were like 18, not an old man like you are now.
But Castro died?
Yes. And by the way, I am ashamed of, speaking of, now the Canadian Prime Minister was worse. Your Canadian Prime Minister. You saw what Trudeau said, right?
No.
Oh, God, you didn't see. You should look him up, man, how much trouble he got in. Oh,
what
my. He said, I'm going to get this wrong because I thought you might have remembered, but he basically.
You get most things.
He went out on a public statement and said Castro was a great leader and a statesman. Words to that effect. Well, I would say this. I think that he was a very unique and great leader from different perspectives. History gets told by the winners, and just because we disagree with people doesn't mean they weren't great leaders for their people or for their cause. And sometimes over time, a cause can become great depending on how the world shapes. And I think that someone like Castro actually made a big difference in this world and, stood up to the U.S. Yeah, but do you think it was for the better, right? Because it's like what I was going to say about who I'm ashamed of is Jeremy Corbyn. Now, Jeremy Corbyn is, for those that don't know, because he's an insignificant little geography teacher of a man, he's the loyal so-called opposition member of the
British Labour Party to Theresa May, who's the Prime Minister of the UK. Anyway, he said, because he just can't help himself, it's basically, I'm paraphrasing it, but he basically said this: Fidel Castro was a good man to his people. He got them. He got them universal health care, or whatever phrase Jeremy used, and blah blah blah. But I accept he had some faults. It's like, yeah, putting people in jail who disagreed with you, Jeremy, is a pretty big fault, don't you think? And impoverishing your island for 50 years, yeah, I say that's pretty significant fault.
You could make a huge argument that, except for a very small few, the island was very impoverished before he took over, and that's why he had a chance to take over.
That's exactly what's happening in Venezuela right now, right? I mean, that's exactly what happened. The rich were very rich, the poor were very poor, and Venezuela went in, and the government there went socialist overnight and said, we're going to have health care for everybody, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The trouble is, now everybody's poor. I mean, then you can't even buy food, right? You can't even buy toilet paper. So, and it's dogmatic. And, of course, that's exactly – there's no pragmatism, right? It's dogmatic.
The challenge is always that at some point wealth has to be produced.
Yes, yes. It has to come from somewhere.
It has to come from somewhere. If you look at Cuba's history, Cuba got their wealth not from producing, but rather from the enemy of the U.S. providing subsidies, and then the next enemy of the U.S. providing oil subsidies in Venezuela. So you had the USSR, right. Then you had China, then right. You have Venezuela, and at some point the world blows up a little bit, and another country can't afford those subsidies, and you've got to produce on your own, and that's where it falls apart. So it's nice to pretend that you're taking care of the poor, but at the end of the day, the poor have to become educated, have to produce, and if you don't figure out a way for all of us to be driven to produce more, to be better, to work hard every day, to improve ourselves and find a reward for that, then I think you produce less as a country, and things fall apart. And that's the balance that we've all got to find. And I think it's the challenge for the U.S. is this rich against poor argument is a terrible one, because at the end of the day, there's simple foundations. And the starting one is that we all have to work hard to be better. The second one is that if we work hard and make ourselves better, there has to be a reasonable reward, and not just for the few.
Yeah, I agree. But the thing is, right, this is what Trump has said to some of the, he hasn't said it that as eloquently as you. You should run for office. Could you run for office? You couldn't be.
I would have run for office when I was young, but I couldn't become president, so I didn't.
Oh, right. You had 2 years. Like, why bother if I can't do it?
I've got a great idea, and I've thrown this out to some friends, and I'd love to hear other people chime in if they think this is a reasonable idea.
Okay, go ahead. We're all listening. Go ahead.
I think that any year we have a deficit, anyone who's paying taxes, it should go up 0.5% a year the next year. Anyone who's getting a benefit, it should go down 0.25% the next year. Now, you may have certain senior citizens and people that you exempt from some of this that are in a certain point in their life where they can't make that change. But I believe that would create the shared pain, shared reward that we all need to have. Rich taking a bigger pain over time, compared to the poor in that aspect. But we all are incented to change the way the world is, as opposed to I get more benefit, I pay less tax, and everyone gets logjammed. I think it's going to have to be this kind of shared sacrifice to make this problem go away and find some balance.
So how would they go up 0.5% a year forever? Would it go up,
until the budget's balanced? Yes.
So so if it went on for 20 years, their taxes might go up 10%.
Absolutely.
10 percentage points, I should say. Okay. All right. Well, okay. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's too simplistic, because I think it
could well be, but the concept to me is the same, which is all of us have to realize that entitlements need to be reduced over time, and taxes need to go up
because we got to balance this thing. Otherwise, someone's going to make a decision for us, and it'll be really uncomfortable, painful, and it'll weaken our country.
Actually, what I thought you were going to say was something totally different. I thought you were going to say was, I've run this by, this is what I thought you were going to say. I've run this by people, and I've thought about it, and I am going to run for office. That's what I thought you were going to say. I thought you were going to say, I'm not as young as I used to be, but so what? I can run for office here in Florida and, take care of hanging chads or whatever it is.
Based on politics today, I would say I'm going to run away from office.
Really? I mean, also, I've thought about this, right? So many people, it's like, do you believe that the people who run for office are of a certain type? Because I forget. It's just like, because you've got to be thick-skinned. Clearly, Trump is not, which is the anomaly. But you've got to have. He's incredibly thin-skinned. But you've got to be thick-skinned. You've got to have a reasonably clean background. Obviously, Trump's again proven that's not always the case. So, do you think that it'd be interesting, right? So, who runs for office?
It's the same person who runs for the neighborhood committee. The people that are idiots. I mean, no one wants to do this stuff that's normal. They're actually leading normal lives with normal kids that want to do normal stuff. I mean, that's the problem we have, is that we try and produce these people that don't exist, that want to serve the country, but we're going to introspect them, make their lives weird, ruin their lives, insult them, berate them, threaten them, and then we go, geez, why do we not get any good politicians?
Actually, you know what? For the first time tonight, you've actually said something sensible. Actually, I actually totally, that's a very interesting point. I actually really like that, which is that how can you expect to have the right kind of people? It's almost like a catch-22, isn't it? You want the right type of person to run, but the right type of person is not going to run because he's the right type of person. That's basically what you're saying.
You're the wrong kind of person, and I'm the right kind of person, so we could start there.
Yeah, well, hey, listen, this is why I was ready, man. I was ready for you to tell me that you were running for local PTA or something. You know, you were going to start small but think big, right?
I'm not going to start that big. I'm going to start with dog catcher.
Well, you know why? Because you do, I swear to God, man, you do remind me of Jack Donaghy from 30 Rock. For those who are listening, they don't know Mike as well as I do, but Mike and Alec Baldwin, they're good-looking guys. And when Alec was on 30 Rock originally, not now, he's lost a lot of weight. Mike's a bit pudgier. But when
Jonathan, I've lost 30 pounds since you saw me.
Oh, really? Wow, that's fantastic. Okay. So, anyway, Alec Baldwin on 30 Rock, originally when it started, the first 5 seasons, he lost weight in the 6th or 7th, but he was kind of more overweight, played, Jack Donaghy, this GE high-powered executive. Anyway, there's one episode where, without giving you all the background story of it, he ends up being fired, joins the Bush administration and whatever, and comes back, and he starts in the mailroom, and he tells Liz Lemon, who's the main protagonist, and says, "I'm going to start," and she says, "You're starting in the mailroom." He goes, "Yes," and in the episode, but by the time she meets him again, he's now called the director of mail operations. Yeah, I've already been promoted twice this morning. I think I can make senior vice president in 5 years, right? So. And he gets promoted, You could do that, Mike. You could do it. You got to find that episode. It's on Netflix, where Jack Donaghy gets promoted back to his old job in like a day.
A couple points there, Max. One is I definitely am capable of getting fired.
Okay.
So I've got that in common. And once we get off of podcasts and into any kind of video.
We are going to do that. We will be doing that, yes.
I will crush you. I will have so many fans. It'll be incredible.
Well, your mother for sure. Right? And we should also remind everybody, or tell everybody, she is English. So, I mean, there we go. So she's English. She's English, right? Yeah.
It's really funny. My mom is from Lancashire in the north.
Sure. I know exactly where that is, yeah.
Yeah, and she always told us we were from royalty. And
no.
Yeah, yeah. And then she did all this, DNA